mobile banking. In addition, it minimizes termination of e-payments in cash. The introduction of the QR code is an integral part of the payment system's strategic plan of 2019 to 2024, captured under the Financial Technologies Strategy pillar. Therefore, today's event demonstrates Bank of Ghana's commitment to the realization of this essential pillar of the payment system's strategy. Broadly, the universal QR code and the Proxy Pay solutions have the potential to become game changers by supporting merchants to accept payments from customers of different financial institutions and non-bank entities. These solutions will also speed up digitization of payments to distributors, wholesalers, suppliers, as well as encourage users and merchants to accept the use of electronic payments. This will provide a further boost to the financial inclusiveness through digitization agenda. Mr. Vice President, the key component of inclusivity and adoption of electronic payment options is public confidence. This requires a well-coordinated approach by all stakeholders in the payment ecosystem to create the needed awareness of such innovative electronic payment products through intensified public education campaigns. Among others, such campaigns should focus on the convenience of going cashlight and the ease with which such electronic payments can support daily transactions, such as transport fares, purchases from the traditional markets, restaurants, hospitals, schools, and so on. In building confidence in the electronic payments products, financial and non-financial institutions should also continue to tighten and enhance security features, in particular cybersecurity. This would require strengthening the effectiveness and robustness of the preventive and fraud detection systems using the latest technology such as machine learning and artificial intelligence. Beyond that, offering liability protection programs and the availability of dedicated platforms to resolve consumer complaints timeously would also provide assurance and boost consumer confidence in the electronic payment products. In the spirit of collaboration to drive such innovation, let me take this opportunity to encourage banks to continue working with existing payment service providers while these PSPs go through the new licensing process. Banks can also integrate new PSPs in order to develop products and proceed to the Bank of Ghana for approval before launching commercially. To conclude, let me state that the high penetration of electronic wallets and mobile phones has positioned Ghana to leverage on the universal QR code and Proxy Pay to advance our quest for a cash-light economy as we improve financial inclusion. In this regard, I would like to congratulate GhIPSS and other stakeholders who have worked diligently towards today's launch of the National QR Code Payment Service and the Proxy Pay. Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you so much, Dr. Addison. Indeed, in countries where payment systems have seen a lot of success, regulation has played a key role. And so we are thrilled to know that the central bank is committed to this agenda. Thank you so much. GhQR code, or the QR code solution, has been touted as a solution that has allowed for mass participation in countries where it has been implemented. And so we are going to watch another video that would explain what the GhQR code solution is and how customers can benefit from it.
The clock, calculator, map, photo album, tape recorder, books, and many more traditional means of livelihood are being facilitated through the mobile phone, just as electronic payment platforms are fast replacing traditional modes of payment. The Bank of Ghana, through the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems (GhIPSS), has been implementing payment platforms with the objectives of migrating Ghana to an electronic payment society, otherwise called a cash-light society. While infrastructural development has seen a lot of growth, usage and acceptance of these platforms at the retail end has been a challenge, mainly because of the cost of deploying point-of-sale terminals at merchant locations. To address this challenge, countries are resorting to QR code solutions, which have proven to be a cost-effective way of deploying payment channels that allow for mass participation. Both merchants and customers are offered cost-effective and easy ways of making payments. In an attempt to introduce the QR code solution to the Ghanaian market, some banks and mobile money companies have deployed QR code solutions which allow their customers to make payments among themselves. However, this does not allow for mass participation, as customers from other banks cannot receive or make payments via these existing QR code solutions. To ensure mass participation and provide avenues for cost-effective cashless transactions at merchant locations, the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement Systems, under the auspices of the Bank of Ghana, introduces the Universal QR Code Solution, GhQR Code. A QR code, also known as a quick response code, is a two-dimensional code made up of black and white squares which represent certain pieces of information that can instantly be read using a smartphone camera. It basically works in the same way as a barcode at the supermarket. With this, Ghana is joining countries like China, Singapore, India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, among others, who have taken the lead in the implementation of universal standards for their QR code solutions. These countries have invested in universal standards that work for customers irrespective of their banks or e-wallet service providers, allowing for easy and quick ways of making cashless payments. Whether buying your favorite food or paying for transport fare, the GhQR code is cheaper because one does not need a point of sale. It's easier because the process is simple, and universal because it can work on all payment platforms. Ghana's Universal QR Code solution is bringing the country up to speed with best practices and is providing a cost-effective alternative to payment receipts. GhQR Code, or Ghana Quick Response Code, is an interoperable solution that allows customers of financial institutions, fintechs, mobile money operators to either receive or make payments by scanning a quick response or QR code onto a smartphone, or in the case of a feature phone, by dialing a USSD number provided by a payment service provider such as banks, mobile money operators, fintechs, etc. across different financial service providers. GhQR will also allow merchants to receive payments from customers of international schemes. So how can a merchant acquire a GhQR code, and how does the GhQR code work? First, a merchant must contact his or her payment service provider and register. He or she will be given a merchant ID which is uniquely generated for the business. He or she will also receive a GhQR bitmap sticker or stand which must be displayed at the point of business. Customers can then scan the GhQR code displayed at the shop or input their merchant ID after dialing a USSD code. The customer then enters the amount to be paid and approves payment. The merchant account is credited instantly, and both merchant and customer receive their transaction notifications. And what are the key benefits of the GhQR code? Whether you bank with Bank A or B or any other payment platform, both local and international, the GhQR code is able to facilitate payment from one end to the other in an easy, cost-effective and instant manner. This is what makes the GhQR code the only universal payment platform ready to take Ghana to the next level of development. The GhQR code. Easy, instant and universal.
Thank you all so much. His love and passion for digital transformation has earned him the nickname Digital Baumia. Please, shall we rise to our feet as we welcome His Excellency, the Vice President of Ghana.
Please sit down. Thank you very much. The Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, First Deputy Governor, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, Second Deputy Governor, Mrs. Elsie Awaji, the CEO of GhIPSS, President of the Ghana Bankers Association, we have Dan Saki here representing the association, MDs of banks, Ken Ashigbe, CEO of the Chamber of Telecommunications and the Chamber of Technology, directors and senior management and staff of the Bank of Ghana, fintechs here represented, Canon Lamte, friends from the media, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. As our president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has said, we are not in ordinary times. And that is why we've had to find extraordinary ways to launch the universal QR code and Proxy Pay, which ordinarily we would have done at a much bigger space with pomp and pageantry. Instead, we are keeping to a small number and using technology to actually reach out to more people than we would have in a limited fiscal space. We all know the adverse impact of the pandemic on our economy. Of course, the coronavirus pandemic. It is very serious. Besides the additional funds that must be found to spend on fighting the disease, we are losing revenue as the price of crude oil slumps and business activity, both external and internal, are negatively affected. These are truly challenging times, but I am hopeful that together we shall weather the storm. I am glad that the central bank has taken bold steps to encourage electronic payments, including incentives such as reducing charges and pushing up the limits on mobile money transactions, among others, all in a bid to reduce human contacts and check the spread of the coronavirus. We should not spare any effort at checking the spread of this virus in our country. Coincidentally, what we are about to launch is another useful electronic payment channel that will provide the needed social distance and reduce bodily contact between the customer and the merchant. And this is very important, a very important reason why we must still launch the universal QR code and the Proxy Pay despite the times we find ourselves in. Invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, we've been always preaching about the many benefits of electronic payments over cash transactions, but never have the benefits been so apparent than in these times. It is now clear that electronic payments also have health benefits. Ladies and gentlemen, the products we are launching today are a really big deal for Ghana. Personally, I have dreamt of this day over the last 15 years, hoping that Ghana will come to this particular point in time. But I was not sure it would come, given the enormous challenges involved in getting to this day. So if I tell you that I am excited, it is definitely going to be an understatement. In the midst of the coronavirus and pandemic, economic activity, however, must go on, even with social distancing. People must buy and pay for goods and services like food and medicines to exist. we know that the science tells us that there is a risk of transmission of the coronavirus from anything that we touch. And this is why we have to keep washing our hands and sanitizing our hands. Anything that we touch presents a risk of transmission of the coronavirus. In a cash-dominant economy such as ours, the risk inherent in the transmission of the coronavirus through banknotes is something we should be concerned about. It is therefore important that we do everything we can to expedite the wholesale use of electronic payment channels like mobile money, the e-switch, bank accounts, and so on in the payment for goods and services from merchants. The Bank of Ghana has over the last few years incrementally been putting in place the infrastructure to provide Ghana the vehicle to go cashless. And this is recently we saw the Bank of Ghana introduce the mobile money interoperability between bank accounts, mobile wallets, and the e-switch. And this mobile money interoperability that the Bank of Ghana introduced is the first in Africa for us. And this has really increased mobile money transactions significantly from about 100,000 per month to about 1 million transactions a month. And that is major. However, what we see is that many people who receive mobile money go to agents to cash out this money to then go and pay for goods and services. So we are not quite where we want to be if we want to have a cashless society. But GhIPSS also implemented the GhIPSS Instant Pay, as the GhIPSS CEO just explained. And the Bank of Ghana, to encourage the use of mobile and digital payments, has announced a number of measures in the context of the coronavirus outbreak. So all mobile money users can send up to 100 Ghana cedis for free. All mobile phone subscribers can use their already existing mobile phone registration details to be onboarded for the minimum KYC account. And the daily transaction limits for mobile money have been increased between 100% and 300%. Mobile money wallet limits have also increased between 50% and 100%. And the monthly transaction limits have been increased by 100% for minimum KYC accounts, and there are now no monthly transaction limits for the medium and enhanced KYC accounts. And recently, GhIPSS also announced that all cross-wallet transactions across mobile money interoperability platforms will not attract any fee from GhIPSS, and fintechs offering GhIPSS instant pay services will not pay any fee to GhIPSS. And all of this is to enhance the use of digital payment services or channels as we battle this coronavirus pandemic. Today, we are launching Proxy Pay, which is making it very easy for everybody to remember their bank account number. You don't have to remember a very long number and a sort code and so on. So if you can just remember your phone number, you say, okay, you can pay money into this account, right? So now it's like mobile money. It's bringing mobile money to the bank accounts. So we can each easily remember our bank account numbers once we can remember our phone numbers. And for the corporates, if it's DVLA, that's what they choose. You say pay DVLA or pay, whatever, Melcom or whatever. You just pay the company name, the alias that the company has chosen. You don't have to remember their bank account details. Just the alias alone is sufficient. Pay Rich Church. Right? You don't have to. I'm sure the pastors will be very happy with this. You don't have to remember the full details if this is what you choose, right? As the alias, and everybody will pay money into that account. So the Proxy Pay is very, very innovative and revolutionary in this context. We will soon all do away with bank accounts and bank account numbers and details trying to give to people. We'll do away with the account numbers and replace them with phone numbers and aliases for companies. Then we have this universal QR code, or the quick response code. Why is it such a big deal? And I said it's a very big deal in Ghana. This is really a big deal. Currently, as the CEO of GhIPSS explained, and as the governor explained, we have a challenge that most merchants or service providers, for example, Wache or cocoa sellers or trotro drivers, they do not accept electronic payments for the most part. And the reasons include the high cost of the POS devices, because these processing fees can be between 1% to 3%. Then you have acceptance complexities, different acceptance methods for cards, for mobile money, and other transfer types create friction between merchants and customers. And then settlement complexities are also existent. They can be quite cumbersome. So the merchants are not very enthused about, using these mobile channels and electronic channels. They would rather just collect the cash and be done with it. Even for merchants that accept electronic payments, there is no interoperability across the different banks or the different telcos. No interoperability. So if there's a merchant who has been acquired by Vodafone, for example, then an MTN customer is not able to use their mobile money account to pay that merchant. Also, if EcoBank has acquired a merchant, a GCB customer cannot use the EcoBank terminals to pay from their GCB account. So there is no interoperability. So our goal is to make a secure, convenient, and low-cost financial service available to the vast majority of people and to solve the pain points of traditional financial institutions. In China and many parts of Asia, the QR code has come as the solution to these problems that I've just been talking about. The universal QR code will bring about interoperability across the telcos and across all the banks and between the banks and the telcos and the fintechs and everybody. They will all be on the same platform, and this is the game changer. So when you go to a merchant with a universal QR code, as long as you have a bank account or a mobile money account from any bank account from any financial institution, or a mobile money account or from a telco, you will be able to pay the merchant regardless of which bank, rural bank, savings and loan, or telco, or fintech has acquired the merchant. Right? So regardless of who has acquired the merchant, as long as you have your mobile money account or bank account, you will be able to pay this merchant or service provider. And so we have interoperability now with a universal QR code. The universal QR code will make it possible for all merchants, service providers, and institutions to receive payments from bank accounts, mobile money wallets, or internationally issued Visa or MasterCards instantly. So any merchant can have a universal QR code. And this is the good thing about the universal QR code. You go and it's just a sticker that is given to you. Any merchant can have it. So whether you are a chop bar operator, barber or carpenter, or a mason, a musician, shoe shine boy, kebab or coffee brook seller, market trader, trotro, taxis, churches, mosques, schools, even funeral committees for donations, you can get a QR code. Wedding organizers, you can get a QR code for your wedding organization. People will make payments to it, and so on. Basically, any business can get a QR code. So we are breaking down the barriers, and it's now for everybody to be able to get this QR code. And what is very interesting is that any owner of a phone, whether it is a smartphone or a YAM phone or a feature phone, can use the universal QR code, right? So it's not limiting people just to smartphones, because we have a large number of people who use feature phones or YAM phones. Even though the data seems to show that we have about 15 million smartphone users and about 16 million mobile money wallet accounts, which is quite significant. But you are not limited. Whether it's a YAM phone or a smartphone, you can use the QR code. And the Bank of Ghana, through GhIPSS, has made it possible for the QR codes to be issued to merchants by banks, rural banks, savings and loans companies, telcos, and fintechs. So I would urge every merchant to start to get a QR code from these providers. I expect that the QR codes will be provided at very little, or hopefully at no cost at all, to the merchants. I think it's a good strategy for you to just give them a QR code, and then you can get the business from the merchants who are using the facility. So I don't expect very high cost of acquiring the QR codes to be placed on merchants. The issue of security of payments is most critical in building confidence in the payment system. Credit and debit cards have suffered with this. However, mobile payments like the QR codes rank as some of the most secure of all currently available payment options because they require authentication for each transaction. So if you go to pay for a good with your QR code, your phone, once you scan, you have to enter how much you are actually paying the merchant. So you have to authenticate. So after you authenticate, you cannot come back and say someone stole my money or whatever. So it's a different, you need to authenticate. So there's a lot of security in there. So once a merchant has a QR code, the customer can scan the code for a smartphone or dial the USSD number, to be star something something hash, to make a payment. The customer will have to enter and confirm the amount, so no one can cheat you. Once the customer confirms the payment, the merchant will receive the payment instantly and directly into their bank account or mobile money account. The universal QR code on the back of the GhIPSS Instant Pay and Proxy page that we are also launching today signals, in my humble opinion, the beginning of the end of the check as an instrument of payment. It's going to come that way. Why do I say so? After all, why will you issue a check when you can instantly pay using the QR code or Proxy Pay? So with this, Ghana is going to be entering into the era of digital GhIPSS payments. Right? Because you will basically receive your payment instantly, right? Once you pay, you don't have to step away. It will just be given to you immediately. So this is where we are going. And so the digital GhIPSS payment era is coming or has arrived. So it has been noted that one unique feature which the QR-based payment system provides is its ability to support more than one user at any given time. With the use of QR codes, customers can essentially save a great deal of time by avoiding long queues and experiencing a hassle-free checkout. So 10 or 20 customers can all scan the QR code and be making payments. So you can move the queue very quickly. This means that once the use of cash diminishes, the risk of the spread of the coronavirus through banknotes will also diminish. For most merchants, it will also mean that little or no cash will be kept in the shops, the taxis, the buses, or on the persons of people. So you will reduce armed robbery also, and the crime that is associated with people going to steal cash from the shops, because if you come and the cash is already in my bank account, what are you going to do? You know, there's no cash available for you to steal. So it is very, very important, even though many people have mobile money accounts and bank accounts, we still haven't covered everybody. And I would like to urge every adult to get either a mobile money account or a bank account so that we can get this thing to work. It is also very important that every merchant or service provider takes steps to get a universal QR code from their bank, their telco or their fintech as soon as possible. If we all do this, we can transition Ghana into a near cashless economy in a very short period of time. So I'll urge all the providers of the universal QR code to also make it easier for merchants to get a QR code online. I think that is also a challenge to you, because the shoeshine boy may not necessarily get up and come to the bank to get a QR code. We have to find a way to entice them to go online, and maybe they can get it in that way. So while QR code payment systems have been implemented in many countries, especially in Asia, very few, and I say very few, have successfully implemented a universal QR code. And I must say at this point that Ghana is the only country in Africa to be launching a universal QR code technology. The only country. No other country in Africa has done so. It is not easy, and this is why I kept saying that, I kept praying that we'll get to this day soon at some point in time. And Ghana, thankfully, has been able to. Therefore, today is a historic day that all Ghanaians should be proud of. We owe today to the Bank of Ghana, led by the amazing team of Governor Ernest Addison, Deputy Governors Maxwell Opoku-Afare and Mrs. Elsie Awaji, and of course, the management of GhIPSS led by Mr. Hachi Hesse. I echo to you all. Your names will be forever written in the annals of Ghana's economic history for this day. You may not realize it, but one day people will ask when this QR code started and who were the people who started it, and they'll say, it was Governor Addison, Governor Opoku-Afare, and Governor Elsie Awaji's time that it started. Well done, well done. It's really very, very good. With the universal QR code, Ghana has been provided with the vehicle to make all payments in the economy digital. The vehicle has arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, the vehicle is here. Let us all get on board this vehicle. Once again, let me repeat that in this modern Ghana that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is building, every adult should get either a bank account or a mobile money account, and every merchant or service provider should get a QR code, a universal QR code. In fact, we can say one merchant, one QR code. This will help us tremendously and immediately in our fight against the coronavirus as we move towards a cashless society. On this note, I am proud and honored and privileged to launch the Proxy Pay and the Universal QR Code for Ghana. Thank you for your attention. God bless you, and God bless our homeland, Ghana.
Thank you so much. You may please take your seats. The digital GhIPSS payment solution is here. I just hope that VIV doesn't get that nickname in addition to digital Baumia. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. We are grateful. We've come to the end of our program. If you're watching us live on Facebook or any of the social media platforms, we're coming to you from the Central Bank, and this was the GhQR code launch, Digital GhIPSS Payment Solution. it's here. On behalf of the board and management of GhIPSS, I'd like to thank you, Your Excellency, for honoring our invitation. You've given us so much support. We are excited anytime we know you are coming. And to our board chair, the governor of the Central Bank, thank you so much for your support. To his able deputies, we are grateful you're part of this event. And to all our distinguished guests, thank you. We are grateful. Please, if you're watching us live, please be part of this experience. And I wish all of you a digital Jinahoje payment experience. We'll now invite Reverend Canon Lante to give us the closing prayer, after which we'll rise for the national anthem.
Please let us stand and pray. Almighty God, we began this meeting with you, and we are closing with you. Thank you for making this launch a success. We would not have done it without you, because many are the plans of man, but it is you who established them. May you stir our hearts to put the GhQR code and the Proxy Pay into action. And may it impact our lives, our banking sector, and our economy for the better. Lighten our darkness, we beseech you, O Lord. And by your great mercies, preserve us from all perils and dangers, especially the COVID-19. And may God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit bless, preserve, and keep you now and always. Amen.
Shall we please now have the national anthem? Thank you all so much. So the VIP will now take leave of us, and thank you all for joining us.